Queensland Government spends approximately $50 billion every year. That's $159 per second, or over $500,000 per hour. That's a lot of money. The government can't just spend money on whatever it likes. They need to have a budget, and the budget needs to be approved by the Parliament. So what is a budget? It's an itemised list of money coming into the government and how that money will be spent over the year. The money coming in is called revenue, and the money going out is called expenditure. So where does the government get the revenue they need to keep the state running? About half of the money comes in the form of grants from the Commonwealth Government. As the Commonwealth Government collects income tax and GST, it divides some of that money up between the states. About a quarter of the money comes from state taxes, things like gambling taxes and levies, land tax, and car registration. 10% of the money comes from the sale of goods and services, things like bus tickets, TAFE fees, and the rent of government housing all contribute to the money coming into Queensland each year. The rest of the money comes from things like interest on investments and royalty fees. So, what does the government spend all this money on? The exact figures vary from year to year, but as a guide, nearly 1/3 of the money is spent on health and hospitals, 1/4 on schools and education, 10% on transport, 10% on public order and safety, and 10% on community services and public housing. So far, the Queensland Government's budget doesn't sound that different from the budget of a household or a business, but there are some really important differences. First of all, the Queensland Budget is more than a spreadsheet or a balance book. It is actually a bill for an Act of Parliament. Budget bills are called appropriation bills. The budget needs to go through the same level of scrutiny in Parliament that any other law would. The budget is so important that there is a week set aside in the Parliament's calendar every year called Budget Week. This is where the appropriation bills are introduced and debated. Queensland is a Westminster-style constitutional monarchy, which means that all government activities are conducted in the name of the Crown. What this means is that the formal financial process starts with a letter from the Governor to the Parliament recommending that the budget be presented. Would you like to know more about what happens during Budget Week? Check out our video, Budget Week.